Iran reviewing U.S. proposal to end war following talks. Major sticking point unresolved. One-page memo omits key U.S. demands on nuclear program. Okay. Trump says they want to make a deal very much. Oh wow! What a sentence! What a sentence, Grandpa. Oil price falls, stock market rallies on optimism. Yeah, yesterday it was insane how much the stock price of oil went down. We can take a look today. What the fuck? Why do people trust this so much? There's literally nothing new. Okay, let's put this on a reasonable place. God damn. You know what, MB? I'll say it. I'm a retard. Remember why we put this line? Put this line there because I was saying I doubt that we'll go under that line in the near term because we're lacking like supply and we've depleted a bunch of reserves. Right now we're touching it. And there's not even a deal. I don't know. There's been a report too that says that it's that it wasn't that bad, the depletion of stocks of oil. Like that makes no sense to me. Like nothing has changed. Well, you are naive. You think people are not playing and manipulating the market. That depends what you mean by that. Manipulating the market doesn't exist if you have good faith actors. But okay, it depends what you mean. I'm sure you're very smart. You're a very smart guy. Okay, so what you mean by manipulating the market is that Trump says a news, and people in his cabinet are trading on it. Is that what you mean by manipulating? No, that's not what you mean. Okay. Manipulating is a strong word. Okay. The reason why I'm owning it and why I'm focusing in on this is because a lot of people use manipulating the market to mean doing things that are literally impossible. So I'm just a bit puzzled. I don't know what you mean by that. That's probably the better way to say it. Like people trading on the in the Trump side, that's yes. Like I would grant it without proof. Well, without proof. We already have some amount of proof. Is it enough to put somebody in jail? No. But is it more than we have had in like 100 years history? Yes. So I'm going to pause my rule of if they're not in jail, it means that it didn't happen for this one. But yeah, I would be interested to know what you mean by that. Oh, I mean that people outside of Trump's circle are using the news to sell and buy, and that influence amplifies the market swing. Well, that's okay, depending on what you're... Okay, if we say outside the Trump circle, what you're talking about is the market, right? So if you're an investor and you know there's more oil coming on the market, you should sell. That's not manipulating. That's just economics. Like okay, you said that manipulating was a strong word. I don't know. I feel like fuck. Are you saying that because you feel like it's irrational what's going on? Is that like the basis for why you use that word? Yes, okay, I understand. So okay, to me too it's irrational, but the truth is we're probably wrong. So I should have put some detail there. I feel that somebody amplifies the market moves. Okay, some people. I understand what you mean. More than one. Okay, I understand what you mean, but in a market, let's just think about what you're saying. Let's like think about it as a real thing, right? Let's go step by step. What happens if you do that? So if let's say that you trade a commodity, oil, whatever, and there's high volatility because there's a problem like what the goal of the people trading this specific chart, that chart doesn't really represent oil, it represents digital oil. So the people that are trading there are never putting up with the oil. The real oil price, whenever you pay for getting it transported, getting it somewhere, it's different than that. But that's kind of a benchmark that gives a global idea of what's going on with oil price. Now that we know what that is, the goal here, the people that trade this, they know when they buy here or when they sell here or when they buy here and when they sell here. Well, or at least they believe that the price is not this, right? If the price was the price that it was at this time, they wouldn't do a transaction. They would wait unless they would know that they would lose more by keeping like asset that is going to lose. Okay, let me try to bring that back in with manipulation. Let's say that your calculation is that oil should be at $100 per barrel. Here we go. So 100. I hate that I did it like that. Okay, $100. If you know indicators and the difference in algorithms, subchart buy and move, algo would react, and that would change the price. We're going to talk about that. I just want to like start way back and then make our way in. So if you know that the price is $1, or you expect the price in a month to be $100 per barrel, well, if it's at 90, you're gonna want to buy, and whenever it's 100, well, you don't want to buy anymore. Well, a little bit under 100 technically, because you want a profit margin. You're not going to buy anymore, and the trader that would buy beyond that point would lose money. Like if the truth is that in a month it's $100 per barrel and you bought and it goes over, the people that buy from here to here, unless they sell within that very limited time frame, they lost, right? That value is gone for them, because when it goes back down, they're holding the stack, they're fucked. So when we say manipulating, it's like this would be a losing game. Now, the other thing that you probably can mean, and I think that you're hinting at here, is the idea that if the volatility is high, so if you have high volatility, you can say, I'm just going to buy and sell essentially every small move in order to make money. Like, that's true, but the reality is what you're doing when you're doing that is always in relation to where the price should be, right? We're going to talk about shorting if it's necessary. But, okay. The goal of those small trade by algorithms is to see where there's like a mismatch in the market. If the market is saying it's 100 if the real price is 100 and the market price is 105, there's large volatility, you can make a guess, or maybe you can look at all the data that you have if you're a big algorithm, and you can short the asset in order to make money when the price comes back to its desired value. If you were to do the inverse, your risk there would be way bigger and you would be more likely to lose money. I don't think that the algo that is optimized to make money would do such retardations. So that's one thing. Okay, so you can short stuff, yes, but we have to understand what shorting is, right? Because shorting is not a magical thing. There's actual values involved. If I want to sell oil that I don't have, I can borrow oil. So if we have oil, I can borrow that oil. Shorting is gambling. Well, no, I disagree. By that term, everything is gambling. By that term, having stocks is gambling. Let me explain. Shorting, that it is oil or stocks, it's the same. So what you do is you borrow what you want to short from someone, and the hope is that you sell that thing that you borrowed for a specific price, so let's say $100, and that you can later on buy it back for less, right? So if you sell it at 100, and you buy it back for 95, you made money. Now, if you're wrong in your guess and the price goes up, you're on the hook for the differences because you need to you need to buy back the thing to give it back to the person that borrowed it. So shorting is just inverting what we have for stocks. Normally, you would kind of go the other way. So you would give your money, or maybe borrow money even, but you would take your dollars and exchange it for a stock or for oil. But here, we're just inverting where we're essentially taking our stocks and our oil and getting money for it in the hopes that we can later on buy back the thing for a better price. So there's nothing bad or malicious about this. This is just like a reasonable system. There's nothing bad with this. Like, let's think about this more concretely. Let's think that we have a business, and you think that this business is overpriced. I never said that. Oh, I'm not. Okay, I'm speaking very generally right now. I'm assuming that I'm not only talking to you, but I'm not saying that you said that it was malicious. I'm just trying to ground all these things into real things. Because sometimes it's easy for us to say like, oh, they can just amplify things by shorting, but then we don't really know what shorting is, right? We don't think about it. So like if I know that, I don't know, Microsoft are making bad fucking investments and they're going to lose money the next quarter and they're overvalued, well, I can borrow these Microsoft stock, sell them, and buy them back to make money. That's a reasonable thing for me as an individual in the market. That's a great way to make money. That's a great way to have the right price in the market, right? Because we need to have some price discovery is important, right? Well, I'm not using that word correctly, but like being able to have the right price on a thing is important. And we need to be able to have both side of the transaction. I said that trader would influence the market and would know that it would move, so they would bet on that planned move and amplify the move in again by doing that. Well, that's where, like, that's where I believe you're wrong, or maybe there's a misunderstanding there. If you know a move is coming, you're just doing an investment, right? The move is going one way or another way. You're making a transaction by thinking that the price is going to change in a specific way, and you just do that transaction. There's nothing like that's market. Like what you're. Okay, I'll drop the malicious because I think you're focusing on that too much, and I'm saying it too much. But I'm not talking about malicious here. Like there's. Okay, there's in investments, there's no part of. Why can't I find this? Okay. Okay, the issue that I have with your wording is you make it sound like there is legitimate transactions that are there to try to seek the real price of a thing and to like get the real price. And there are people that are doing like this non-legit thing in their investment through algorithms, through shorting or whatever. What I'm saying is that the non-legit doesn't exist. It's all legit. And it's just like how it works. But big player has influence. He knows it, and that other will follow to amplify the price correction. I know that there will be an overcorrection, and I'll also buy and sell that overcorrection. Well, then, like, it's okay. What you're saying can either be a crime or be extremely trivial. So when I say like the price in a month will be this, or that, I'm talking about like a medium-term investments. But technically, the time frame doesn't matter here. So if you know in 2 seconds that the price will be 0.2% higher, you can make that like transaction and make money on it. and that would be like okay. But those level of transaction, they're made by robots, and they're made to like technically stabilize the market. So when there's a swing because of a lack of liquidity in one side, they can make money on the fact that some, I could say retard, but someone paid too much for their thing or paid too little, so they can kind of push it back where it should be. But like it's like that's what happens. But when I said that it can also be a crime, if, for example, TD was to come out and was to say, oil is overpriced, and then everybody sells like their oil, and then while this is happening, they buy the fuck out of oil, and as soon as it hits the bottom, TD is like, it's underpriced now. just to make money with like no backing on data, no methodology, just trying to fucking defraud their investors. Yes, that would be a crime. That is prison worthy. So, yeah. But like I said, this transaction of like there's a small swing in price and the algorithm trying to bank on that, that's just like a standard operation that happens billions of times per second. And there's no issue with that. It doesn't change anything to the final price. Look at the oil price chart. Yes, what do you think okay. What do you think this means? Maybe that's a better way to go. What do you think this chart means? Look a lot like the TD fraud chart. What do you mean the TD fraud chart? Oh, okay, the one that I did. It's okay. I was like, TD fraud chart? They have a fraud chart? No. Okay, I understand what you mean. Technically, all markets are going to look like that, right? So if okay, that's a bad example. But if I look like at Atkins Realis, SNC Lavalin, like it will look the same way. But the reality is that this price is trying to get at something real. So what it's trying to capture is the price of a commodity in like the future. So what these people that are trading here are looking for is they're saying, in a month, what will the price be so that I make profit on my investments? So here, that's the start of when we have the crisis with Iran, right? So when we have that crisis, the idea is, oh fuck, like 20% of the world oil is going to be cut out from the market and won't be exportable for some while. For sure, the price is not staying there. That would be retarded. So people buy. And then here, like there's some kind of discovery. I'm using price discovery not in a right way, but we're using it because it feels okay. So like within a day, the price did that big fucking swing. And that's because people were, I think that it's going to go that far. Then some people that actually study the market, like the economist at a bunch of banks, were probably like, look, dude, I know that this is cut out, but there's probably this supply that can come in. We don't know how long this will be. So we probably have some profit to be made by either selling the oil that we own or shorting this price. And they probably made a fuck ton of money on that. But like people made a fuck ton of money on the way up, a fuck ton of money on the way down, how things are. But here, like the only quote unquote manipulation that we can talk about, if we're talking about this, well, it's not really about the chart, would be how people in the US, part of the Trump administration, were trading on news that they knew were coming. So if you're, for example, JD Vance, and you say to like one of your family member, hey buddy, we're going to announce that we have some kind of peace deal on the table, trade the fuck out of that, and they sell all their oil, that's illegal. Well, I don't know if in the US that's illegal. Anyway, it should be, that's for sure. But like, to me, it's treasonous. When I'm saying when I'm doubting if it's illegal, it's yes, but insider trading is I believe that's a term that is mainly defined for a company. It doesn't work with government. Like the appearance is garbage, and normally that's enough to make sure that people don't do it. And normally, like right now, for example, Mark Carney couldn't do insider trading because he doesn't have control of his asset. And normally that's how it should be, right? But hey, who gives a fuck? So like here, that chart to me looks reasonable. At some point, we thought that we were full out war and that we were going to have like a full year of shelling Iran and no oil coming out and a bunch of infrastructure being destroyed. At some other part, it's like, oh, it looks like we really have a deal coming true. We might be able to like get out of this. And then, oh, the blockade comes back. Like when we look at this, we could pinpoint every news and it would make sense. Those people are trying to make a guess, not on what the price is right now, but what the price will be in a month. And that's hard. So here, like, I don't see any market manipulation. I see a market struggling with high volatility. But the fluctuation looks too large to be for the credibility of information of the I agree, because that's what we talked at the very start. But we are probably not dealing with all of the information. When I say we, I mean you and me, right? The people that make these decisions of trading that on that market, they are like monitoring, they know every fucking bit of dinosaur juice that is going through the market. And they probably look at all of their data and they say to themselves, well, we've got some news that we have more capacity than what we thought. We have more reserves. So the price is not that fucked. We're not going to have to replenish these reserves as aggressively whenever everything comes back online. And right now, China is eating through these reserves instead of having to buy more on the global market. Like they're doing a bunch of calculation, and that's where their price comes from. Like there's, like it feels to me, it feels crazy that we're right now kissing the $90. But at the end of the day, if the price is what it is what it is, right? Because okay, that's why maybe I need to focus on this. Manipulation was too strong. I wanted to say more. Manipulation was too strong. But amplification. I understand. Broil. True. It's oil price, but it's broil. Okay, now we use broil. But neat new word. True. But like, the truth is, we need to look at it from a bank point of view, right? Let's say that your estimate, if we get a real peace deal and the Strait of Hormuz is open, the price will be here. And right now, let's come back a week. Right now, the price is here, and you tell yourself, what are the actual chance that the Strait of Hormuz will go down? And that's where we'll get there, okay? Let's say the chance is 25%. Well, then you need to take that into account. So if we stay a year like we are right now, is to stay here, but there's a 25% chance that within a month we get a deal, well, then the real price is probably lower than this. So there's a calculus that they're doing, and they're saying, okay, there's about that much chance that we get more flow from these place, so we can probably put our price there. So whenever the change actually come, instead of losing 30% in value in what we hold, we can only lose 15%. Or maybe, like, we could make the argument a non-losing argument, right? So if you're here and you think the price should be here, maybe you say, oh, we can make 16% profit by shorting it, right? because the real price with probability is this. I don't know if I'm clear. Like, they don't have to believe that the chance are high that there is a real deal. The probability is what they look at, because there is a world. Like, let's think about this. Let's say that the Iran war worsen and Iran just fucking strikes like all the oil installation of all the Gulf. Your oil price will go up, right? Your oil price will be at like 200, 300. And that's in their calculation. But their calculation is probably saying that world is very unlikely, because at that point we're talking about an Iran that fully knows that they're going to die. So it's in their calculation, but it's probably, there's way less chance of that. And like, I could see, like, there's the calculation for some kind of peace makes sense, because do we really think that Trump will stay there forever and do the fucking little retarded blockade that he has? No. Why would he? Like, it eats him up in the poll. He looks bad. He looks bad locally. Like, it's a general lose. Even internationally, everybody hates him. So, like, even Trump's wants to pull out. There's no one that wants this to continue. So the chance that it gets cleared out becomes higher and higher throughout the time that there's no battle. Like right now, I mean, they shot a couple of missiles at the UAE and they're threatening a couple of ships, but apart from that, Iran is not doing much. So, yeah. Like, I think that, bottom line, this chart to me makes sense. Like, if we were to pin each like big thing to a story, we would see that it makes about as much sense as an like smart guess could. And a smart guess does not have to be 100% certainty. Like, whoever bought over here was not making a guess on 100% certainty. They were making a guess that the US was about to genocide an entire country, right? That's what guess they were making. So, yeah. Anyway, that's a fun little segment. I think we yapped a lot about stocks. That's fun. About oil. No, but it's okay. Like, you say paranoia, but you are the majority. Like, that's why I'm happy to talk about it. Like, most people have no vision for how these market works and what transaction are. Like, most people know what the short is because of what a short is because of The Big Short, the movie, and they like link it to some shady shit. And like, people have no vision for that, and that's okay, right? Each have their own training there. New word to help us talk faster. Pros. True.